What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we've got a new set of HyperPro fork springs installed in the old Pacific Coast here, and we're going to take it out and test drive it down some of the gnarliest, nastiest, most potholed backcountry roads in the state of South Carolina. I know most people install fork springs for handling improvements. I'm doing these for ride quality. We'll hit the highlights of how I installed them and stick around to the end, and I'll tell you what I think about them. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel again. It's another quiet evening here at the asylum. It's way colder than it ought to be here in South Carolina. And I just got my latest package of stuff from WeBike Japan. Now these were items I ordered that it said on the website would have a long delivery time, and I really wasn't expecting them for another couple or 3 weeks when I first ordered them. I ordered them back about the middle of December. And as a courtesy, in case I didn't see it on the website, they sent me a notice stating that these items had a long wait time and that I still want them, and I said yes. About a week later, they send me another email and say that these items are going to be available early, and asked me if that shipping schedule was okay, and I said yes. It's great customer service from these people at WeBike Japan. So let's open it up and see what I got in here. I should have a tool, and for my Pacific Coast, a set of HyperPro fork springs. I love my Pacific Coast more than I thought I would. I never thought I'd enjoy anything so big and slow as much as I do. But it's really comfortable for a long trip. Yeah, here's my paperwork showing shipping fees and all that, everything I paid, the date I ordered it, statement of delivery. I'll park that under here to throw in with the paperwork. Okay. I had ordered myself this pulley and flywheel holder. Let's see if it will come out of this little bag. That should be a pretty neat tool to have handy around here. Work for a lot of different things. I love tools. I always tell people that I'm a tool collector. The motorcycles and the old cars and the scooters are just my excuse. Now let's get down to what I'm after here. HyperPro Racing Fork Spring Kit. This should be interesting to try. I had never heard of this particular brand before I saw it on the WeBike website. So I'm going to, as part of this video, I'm going to install these springs in the front of my Honda Pacific Coast, and we're going to take it out for a ride. Like I said, I enjoy riding it, but the front end of it does bottom very easily, which is kind of annoying. And we have HyperPro Spring Mounting Manual. All in Japanese, of course, but with plenty of pictures. And if you worst come to worst, I can always use Google Translate on my phone. Okay. And here are the fork springs. course, a couple of cool little stickers. Everything is neatly packaged in here. It looks good. So, yeah, that's it for now. I'm just happy with this. And we'll get it set up here. And we'll go through. I'll take the front end part on the... I'm going to try to do it without removing the fork tubes from the stanchions. I want to take the body, see if I can get enough of the body work off of it that I can just drain the fluid, slip the springs out the top, and then put the new springs in and the new oil. So we'll come back with the video. I'll get the shop set up and we'll start it and we'll get it done. Well, how's it going there, everybody? As you can see, it's a couple days after that unboxing portion of this video. I'm out here now getting ready to pull the body work off of this thing. I'm trying just to figure out how you can get far enough down to even drain the forks. So let's I'm not going to do a step-by-step on this bodywork removal or any of that. Let's just say through the magic of stop motion video, speeding up photography, etc., etc., I'm going to allow you guys to skip over the most boring parts of it. I realize some people would like to have seen how to do this, but the truth of the matter is that I'm just figuring it out myself. Like I said, just removing the front wheel cover is an awesome job. Just be careful, don't break any plastic. And there we have it. The fender covers part of this section is like this. I had figured this would be a separate piece. And it is, but it doesn't come off separately. It all comes off. You take one bolt out of here and one bolt out of here, and off it comes. I'll take advantage of this time to check all the parts in here. If I need brake pads or whatever, there'll be a delay in putting it back together while I get them. I'll believe I actually need to pull the top fender here off if I can find the drain plugs. It may not be a full coil drain plug, which can be a real pain in the butt. Thank you, Mr. Honda. That was not very nice. Fork oil is a maintenance item. It needs to be changed on a regular basis. There should be a drain plug to remove it without having to tear half the bike down. Work carefully, don't break any plastics. Mine is actually missing a screw on the other side that I'll have to replace. While I'm in here, I'll go ahead and inspect the air filter. I've never had it off of this pipe. So that's why I'm taking this top cover off. Anytime you're dealing with a machine with this much fairing and you haven't personally verified its service history, when you've got it apart, any of it, go ahead and take it all apart first chance you get. If you got to take it this far apart, check everything. Well, it's been a few hours now. This is my stopping point for today. I realized that I would actually be better off to pull the front wheel off and drop the fork legs out than to try to go any further with disassembling this thing. I can reach the pinch bolts for the forks up here and here, so it'll be a fairly easy thing to remove the brakes and just slide the forks out that way. And plus, that'll make it easier to drain them, because then all I have to do is turn them upside down and pump them. Oh well, we'll come back and hit on this a little later. Okay, I gotta confess here, I was a little bit annoyed at having to pull this much body work off just to replace fork springs and the fork fluid, but I'm glad I did. It gives me an opportunity. There's a lot of broken tabs on the bodywork that I'll repair. And I caught this spark plug wire, which is lying on the exhaust pipe. Not a good place for it to be. I'll reroute that and get it fixed. If the wire's in bad enough shape, I'll replace it. It's amazing just how covered up this engine still is, even after removing all of the bodywork on this thing. Another thing I found that was mildly disappointing to me On my other Honda products, the headlight fastens to the structure of the frame or a subframe, like on this Interceptor. You can pull the fairings off without removing the headlight. On this one, the headlight is made into the front section of the fairing, which makes it all a little more difficult to handle. But oh well, that's just the way it goes. We'll get back to work on it now. So I'll get it all done and get the fork springs on it, and we'll take it for a ride. Well, it turns out what normally would have been just a fairly quick, simple job on most bikes, it turned into a multi-day thrash on this one, between finding burnt spark plug wires, needing to change the oil, and having to repair a bunch of bodywork. But I'm working on it. We'll get it done. It's time to disassemble this fork. Got the fork leg out. I'm going to carefully loosen this cap. Need a 17 millimeter Allen head.
Palmetto Street, Florence, 1815 Palmetto Street, Florence, North.
If you don't have one, I'll leave a link in the description where you can buy one. If you're a regular subscriber or watcher of this channel, be sure you check all this. I regularly leave links to the tools and stuff that I use in parts in the description. Okay. Let's go dump the oil out of this one. For the record, according to the Honda service manual, these take 11.1 ounces of fork oil. I'll be putting in some 10 weight. If you take a look here, you can see the original Honda fork spring on the left and the new HyperPro fork spring on the right. As you can see, the HyperPro spring has a lot more coils in it. It'll probably be a good bit stiffer in the riding, but it should get rid of the wallowing and the bottoming that I've been experiencing while riding this thing. Make sure that when you put your fork springs in your bike that you orient them correctly. The end here with the smaller separation between the coils goes to the bottom. I've been fortunate on this set, it didn't need seals or anything like that. If I thought it did, I would go ahead and put them in now. Take your pre-measured fork oil. And fill the fork back up. If you're looking at me with it clamped here in the vise, these are soft rubber jaws holding it in place. I actually left this fork standing upside down on the drain pan for several minutes to get all the fluid out. These right here are actually the correct length, so there are no spacers needed. I have discovered with some aftermarket springs require you to install spacers. Carefully press the spring. Then tighten up your fork cap. And that is how you do this. I'm going to carefully tighten this on down. Okay. Now it's time to put it back in the bike. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one now, but I'm not going to show you this process in repeat unless I discover something different. Okay, it's time to torque pinch bolts on the triple clamps. Always torque those to the proper spec, especially when you're dealing with a motorcycle that's heavy and there's more touring oriented. All this stuff will be hidden once I put all the body work back on it, so it's especially important to make sure you do it right the first time. I've already got the front wheel back on, the brakes and all that. I've got everything snugged in here and leveled properly. The weight is still on the jack, which is underneath it. And I have the factory specs. I printed out a page out of my factory manual, which if you don't have one for an old Honda, I would strongly suggest you check it. Sign up and register at 4stroke.net and look and see they have all kinds of stuff, good information on there for these bikes, as well as tons of other old motorcycles. But anyhow, the lower pinch bolts are supposed to be torqued to 35 Newton meters, which is 25 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and set my torque wrench for that now. And we'll go ahead and okay, go back over here. I'm going to get the top one on the other side. Go back through and check everything. Sometimes you pull one down, it loosens up the other. Those are all tightened up. The upper pinch bolt is supposed to get 27 Newton meters or 20 foot-pounds. So let me set this up for that. It's a little bit less. There's only one pinch bolt on each side on the top. Now I'm going to do something that I normally would do, is use an extension while I'm torquing. But that's because in order to reach the top of the forks without an extension, I would have to remove the dash and all the wiring, and I'm just not willing to go there. This will be good enough. So I'll reach in here, put my wrench into the pinch bolt, put my torque wrench on, turn the handlebar back to the other side and do the same thing on the other side. I've been patching up bodywork a lot. I'm getting ready to put all that back on. And then we'll take this crazy old thing out for a test drive. And we'll see if these new fork springs make an actual difference in how it rides and handles. Now it's quite obvious most people put fork springs on for handling. I'm actually doing this for ride quality. The factory suspension was so awful, so worn out, that it would bottom out on the least little bump. So what I'm doing now, as you can see, this road here is plenty potholed. So I'm making sure I run across these patches. Like I said, this is the place to come if you really want to test your shock absorbers. Just a few more bumps. I love riding this old Pacific Ghost, but as it was delivered to me, the front end was very soft and flaccid. I mean, it would ride very smooth. It was like your grandma's old 70s Cadillac. It would float on down the smooth road, felt pretty good. But the minute things got hairy, or the minute there were some bumps, it would bottom out quickly and easily, and it always had a wallowy feel. The wallowy feeling is gone now, so I'm happy with that. And I've already been out riding it for a while. And the handling is much better as well. Normally I would have driven around those bumps back there instead of deliberately driving over them. But I just really wanted to test it out. Let's hit another bump, shall we? get on the brakes. Yeah, there we go. Here's a big one. How about that? No bottoming out. I can honestly say this is already much better. And it handles better as well too. The ride is much noticeably firmer, but then again the handling is better. The only downside is now I realize just how bad the rear shocks are. I should have ordered the front and rear springs at the same time. Oh well, live and learn. That'll be a project for another video. I just got back from my test drive on this thing, and that was a fun ride. A motorcycle has to be pretty terrible for me not to enjoy it. But I enjoyed the Pacific Coast even before with its faults, with its softness and wallowiness, and the tendency of the front suspension to bottom out. I had ordered the Hyper-Pro fork springs from We-Bike Japan. They have them online at a good price. I'll put a link in the description below. The handling is much improved, although that wasn't necessarily my main goal. My main goal was the ride quality, because this thing would bottom out severely on bumps. But as you can see on the preceding ride, I deliberately rolled it through a whole series of stutter bumps and a couple of hard potholes and big patches, and it didn't bottom out, which it would have bottomed out on some of those patches, because it has bottomed out on some of those patches in the past. So that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to give these things a buy recommendation. The only thing I will caution you about, if you order these from We-Bike Japan, they'll have a better price. It will say on the website that the shipping is delayed, and they will send you an email to make sure that you really want them. And when they say delayed, for example, when I ordered mine, they sent me a message saying they could be delayed up to 4 to 6 weeks, and then 2 weeks later I got an email saying they were ready to be shipped. Did I want them to go ahead and ship them? And I said yes. The other thing is, they show on the website that they come with oil, but if you're outside of Japan, anywhere they have to airmail them, they won't include the oil in them, which is no big deal. I ran some rock oil, 10 weight fork oil. So It works great. It's worth doing. The price is reasonable. And I will go ahead and give the HyperPro Fork Springs a recommendation. Nothing is going to transform this big fat pig into a road racer, but it will make it handle and ride a little bit better. The only downside to the whole thing, like I said while I was riding, is I really should have done the back end too. Now I can feel the rear shocks bottom out occasionally, where I couldn't before. But that's about it. Overall, it's much better, and that'll be another project I'll do another time. So in the meantime, keep riding, keep wrenching, and stay crazy.